Joining me now is my good friend, Ryan Steeg from the Mining Journal. Ryan, thanks for being here.
I'm happy to be here.
So let's get right into it. You are the know-it-all for Marquette County football here in the UP, is that correct?
If that's a nickname I got, great. I'll accept it.
Okay, good. So let's talk a little bit about, I guess we can start with Ishpeming. You know, that's a big story. Jeff Olson and company, prior to last season, they won 3 out of 4 Division VII state titles here in the Upper Peninsula. Last year they took a step back, not making the playoffs. What can we expect from them this year?
Well, a lot of their problems last year was injuries. They also lost a lot from the previous year. The interesting thing with Ishpeming is that they continue to rebuild over and over again. But last year was just a little too much, lost a little too much. The injuries were really starting to hurt them. This year, they have a good group coming back. The quarterback situation has always been pretty locked down the last few years. But Donald D'Onofrio took over last year. He's doing it again this year, and seems to be excited in the brief period of time that I talked to him. And he knows the offense now, and it's not easy to take over for two famous Ishpeming quarterbacks. But he's doing a good job so far.
Right, he's next in line after a long lineage, I guess, of good quarterbacks there. Can we expect Ishpeming to play that, ground and pound style and just be a physical defense? Do you think Jeff Olson is going to stick to that philosophy?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's his thing. It's been his mantra for the last few years, and it's not going to change. Coaches don't usually change after 20 or so years.
Especially with the success he has.
Exactly.
Let's go to Gwynn now, a team that prior to last season, they didn't make the playoffs for 16 years. Deion Brown has certainly turned that program around. Do you see them making the playoffs again, or do you see last year's kind of just being, just that one and done year?
Well, the interesting thing with Gwynn is that Deion said he had to change the culture there. He had to get kids interested in football again, and he's really done that. They had a big turnout from what I saw when I looked at practice the first time. They had a lot of kids excited, and I think that will help them. They're building something good there. They made it last year. There was the story of the Central UP, possibly the entire UP, if you really want to look at it. But they made the town excited again. They got a good group coming back. Yeah, they lost Kevin Roberts at quarterback. They lost Chris Bosworth, who was, if I remember correctly, the runner-up for UP Offensive Player of the Year. It's a lot to lose, but they got a good running back coming back in Marlon Moten. Austin Roberts is going to take over at QB. He's the point guard for the basketball team. I mean, they've got a lot coming back, and I think that'll push them into it. They have a little more experience than some of the other teams.
Two teams that have a lot of experience, speaking of experience, coming back is Westwood and Marquette. Both teams, they were young last year, but now they have those players returning. Can you talk a little bit about those teams? What should we expect from the Patriots and the Redmen?
Well, to start off with Westwood, Westwood was by far the youngest team in all of Marquette County. They were basically learning Scott Sergil's system. He was the first-year coach, and it takes a while to understand and get along with the coach for the first time. So it took a little while. As the season progressed, they got better, and it showed. Nathan Beckman really started to emerge as a quarterback, and I think he's going to be one of the best in Marquette County and potentially even in the conference, the Mid-Penn. So I think he'll lead them. The whole team is back. And when you have your whole team from last year, some people are thinking they're the favorites in the MPC. I think it's kind of up for grabs, but I can see that argument. As far as Marquette had a really down year, a kind of unexpected down year. I think Ishpeming battled a lot of injuries, kind of lacked some experience. However, when I talked to Coach LaHillier, he told me that they've got more guys out this year. I think they had like 21, 22 last year. He said around 40 checked out equipment. So that depth will definitely help them, and I think that can push them better year. I don't know about playoffs. They're in the GNC. It's a competitive league, but I think they have a shot, an outside shot.
Right. A team that's always right there at the top is the Negaunee Miners. This season, there's a lot of questions coming into this year because of who they lost. They lost 9 starters on offense, 9 starters on defense. So this is going to be a completely new look team. Can you talk a little bit about the Miners? What should we expect from them?
With the Negaunee undefeated regular season, probably should have gotten a little further in the playoffs, but ran into a good Calumet team. The big problem with Negaunee, they lost almost their entire line, which was their big thing for the last 2 years, is that Negaunee was just able to pound the ball through there. They lost both their running backs, lost Brockauer as their quarterback. It looks on paper that it's going to be a very bad year for Negaunee, but Paul Jacobson's got a good team coming back. I think they'll make the playoffs, but they're probably not going to be, conference champion just because they lost so much. But I still think they're going to make the playoffs. They are a good team this year.
Okay, another few teams you cover, Superior Central, is that correct? Munising and Newberry. What can you tell me about those three teams? Can we expect anything from those teams?
Well, Superior Central is fun because they almost made the playoffs last year. The format change for 8-man kind of prevented that, but this year they will probably. I think they got a lot coming back. They got a good quarterback in Bo Rondo. 8-man's always interesting. I think it's a little more wide open this year with North Central losing quite a bit. Munising has been a little down since they went to the state championship in 2014, but they got a good quarterback in Alec Blank, who's been the guy for the last 3 years, and I think there's a movement there to get back up. I think they're going to be a little better this year. Now, as far as Newberry goes, Newberry, their quarterback the last 4 years has been John Pramsky, who's now at Michigan Tech. He's playing linebacker now, a bit of a change for him, but they're in good shape. They made the playoffs last year. They finished like 7-3, if I remember correctly. So they're in a good place. George Severns, the dad, is now the new head coach, and George Severns, the son, is now the starting quarterback. So they got a connection there. I think all three of them are going to be better this year. Probably Newberry's a little more stable. I think they've got close to 30 players on their team, so expect them to go far in the playoffs.
We're really close to this season. We got about 2 days left before the opening Friday. I know the Great Northern Conference is always exciting. I don't expect that to change this year.
Oh, no. Mid-Penn either. It's going to be exciting to the end. I'm already excited for it, and it's just the first game. So Friday cannot come faster.
All right, Ryan, thanks again for joining me. I hope to see you maybe down the line here on the Sports Zone.
I'm excited to be there if I get invited back.
Okay.